Robert, welcome to the show, and it's a pleasure to virtually meet you. As I said, congratulations on the last 3 days. It's a great little science fiction film. Let's just start right there.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, I'm really excited that it's finally coming out. We shot it. The movie's called Last 3 Days. We shot it almost 3 years ago now. So it's been a long time coming. I'm excited that the world is finally going to get to see it.
You think a lot of films like this that have been in the can are now coming out because of the pandemic, and people just they're chewing up all these movies. So
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that there's been such a halt on a stall with the bigger production companies, and these massive blockbusters. A lot of them have been delayed with their releases. So I think it's pretty cool that there's all these different streaming platforms that smaller indie movies like this can be released and actually get some eyes on them.
yeah, and your journey to the last 3 days was what? Did you get an audition notice? Were you just tapped to do the film?
Yeah, no, I auditioned. I was on General Hospital at the time, the soap opera, and my occasionally I was still able to audition for other things depending on my schedule with that show. My manager got this breakdown, submitted me for it, sent me the script, and I was like, I want this. This is cool. This guy's really cool. It was not it's not always the case where when you audition for something you get the whole script, but for this one, for one reason or another, I was able to read the script before auditioning, and I was just like really drawn to the movie. It was more than just a typical action movie. It had a lot more depth to it, and I liked the whole time traveling sci-fi element, and then the character of Jack. I just was like, I want to play this guy. So
Jack is an interesting character. He's like an onion wherever you peel and peel and peel, and there's always something more.
right, yeah, it's cool. He's got two different worlds he's kind of trying to find the balance between. He's got this undercover cop life with Dave, his partner, and he's trying to keep that going. And then he's got, this love story with his wife, and they're struggling to keep their marriage afloat. And he's trying to find the balance between the two. So it was cool to just get to play with both those sides. Like the movie starts out, you almost think it's going to be like a love movie, a love story, a rom-com or something.
Yeah.
And then it's definitely not, but it's kind of cool that it bounces back and forth.
Yeah, it has some interesting twists and turns to it, which I think is reminiscent of how Rod Serling used to write,
Mhm.
um, where you've got these fully developed characters and you get to love them. And then all of a sudden it takes a twist and you never know where you are from that point in the film.
Yeah, literally. I mean, it was shooting this movie was an amazing experience. It was difficult in a lot of ways too, because when you shoot anything, you're never really shooting in order. You don't shoot the story in consecutive order as it plays out in the script. So not only are you shooting it out of order, but then the story is out of order itself. So like, I mean, my brain was scrambled after each day filming. I'm like, what happened? I mean, before each scene, I would literally have to talk to Brian Ulrich, our writer, director, creator of this movie. And before each scene, just check in with him. Okay, where am I at right now in the story? Where's Jack coming from? What was the scene before this? What day am I waking up on? Is this day 1, day 2, day 3? What time is it? Like, it was
Yeah.
a lot to keep track of. And then the poor makeup and hair department, they're trying to figure out, okay, how beat up do you look today? This is day 2 of your state of being. Let's put more red eye drops in your eyes and let's mess up your hair. I mean, it was a lot to keep up with, but very important stuff to keep track of, though, because the story jumps back and forth so many times.
Yeah, well, and of course, like you say, I mean, whenever we do a production, it's always done out of order. This is even more so because the film itself is out of order as well. I imagine you can go just absolutely nuts emotionally because you don't know if you're happy, sad, supposed to be angry, until you have that moment with the director, with Brian, who
Right.
knows where he is.
Yeah, I mean, it was really great working with Brian as a director. He's a great director, and he really obviously really cares about the project. But the fact that he created it and wrote it, I think, helped a lot because it was a lot to keep track of. This Jack's journey through his 3 days of waking up and the way it skips from present to future to the past. It's all over the place. So
Yeah.
it was really nice to be able to check in with him, and he really knew the story really well because he created it and wrote it, which, it's not always the case that the director also wrote it and created it.
Now, you have a background in musical theater.
Yeah. Yeah, I did do some musical theater growing up. I started acting in high school doing plays, and then of course they needed more guys for the musical, and I got talked into doing the musical, and I loved it. It was a blast.
What
But yeah,
musical was it?
what was my first musical? 42nd Street, I
Wow.
think.
Yeah,
And then
that's a,
South Pacific and Greece and Urinetown, did a bunch. Yeah. Theater, I love theater, but I was like, well, if I want to make a career out of this and actually make a little money, I think I'm going to go into TV and film,
well,
which doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to make money either, but a little more promising.
yeah, but you've got some great training, doing like soap operas like General Hospital, where you have rewrites the day of, and you're performing all the time, and musical theater where if you miss the mark, you miss the mark. You can't go back and do it. So what
Right.
great training that is.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because being on the soap opera almost reminded me of theater because you're moving so quick, and it's really the only medium I feel like in TV and film where all the scenes are grouped together and you shoot them in order usually. And they've got all the cameras already preset. They've got 4 or 5 cameras on you, and you pretty much just get to run through your scene. And you
Yeah.
don't really get to do it twice. I mean, they got to move. They're moving fast, which can also be a bad thing. But it's kind of nice to just get on set and get to really live out the scene without stopping and starting and stopping and starting and stop. You know what I mean? So in some ways, being on a soap kind of reminded me of theater. And yeah, I think my theater training definitely helped me with that job, because being thrown into the soap world and moving as quickly as they move is it's a lot.
Is
So
there a
I'm
lot of
glad.
ad libbing that goes on in a soap opera?
Yeah. Yes and no. I mean, I think the writers are great at what they do, and you I tried to, for the most part, stick to the script, but I think as you get to know your character more and you've been on the show for multiple years, I think you start to kind of find your own. Yeah, I think you have a little more freedom to do that, and I think the writers kind of allow you to do that more and more as you develop your character.
Because I've been on sets where they've been, manic. You said this instead of this other word, and we have to go back and reshoot the scene, and sometimes it's a,
Oh, right. No, they're definitely not that picky. I mean, if you get it pretty close, they're moving on. You would have to really, really mess up the meaning of the line for them to want to go back and reshoot it, because they got to move. I mean, they're shooting sometimes up to 3 episodes a day.
as we wind down our conversation, are you going to be stepping behind the camera more and more, directing, producing?
Yeah, I'm actually right now working on a show with my roommates and my friends. Throughout the pandemic, we were losing our minds, and we were like, well, let's create something. So we started writing a kind of a sitcom. Uh, I don't know. I guess kind of in the vein of an Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Just a funny, off the walls kind of comedy, and it's with a few of my best friends, and it's been really fun to just kind of develop that. And I'm also acting in it, but being part of the writing process, and we all kind of helped direct. We started filming it, so yeah. I mean, I love it. I definitely want to do more of that in the future for sure.
Well, congratulations on that. Congratulations on the last 3 days. It is really, really well worth seeing if you're a science fiction fan. If you're a fan, because there's a division even in science fiction between sci-fi and time movies, and this kind of covers both.
Yeah. No, it's a fun one. It's definitely a fun ride. Not your typical action movie. It's got the sci-fi elements. It's also got a little bit of the love story. So you kind of got everything. So definitely check it out. I'm so excited. I can't believe it's finally releasing in a week now. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's streaming on all video on demand services.
Yeah. iTunes and Amazon, I believe, to start, and then hopefully it'll be transferring over to everything else as well.
Great. Well, it's a pleasure to finally meet you and talk with you. And again, thank you for your time today.
Thank you. I appreciate you rescheduling with me too. It was good to meet you.
This celebrity interview is sponsored by
I'm Annette Civarella with Pia Anderson Moss Hoyt, Utah's leading entertainment law firm, serving clients nationwide. We provide solid, attentive representation focusing on minimizing risk, reducing cost, and protecting the reputation and privacy of our clients. Our goal is to provide you with the legal representation you need to make the right decisions and to protect you and your creative works. Call or email me for a free consultation.